Is that me with a fire alarm beeping? Fire thing beeping?
Yeah, there's nothing beeping here.
Oh my gosh, that's so obnoxious. No podcast.
I can't hear it, so
Oh, okay, good. We're probably fine.
I can't believe this is finally happening.
I know. I'm so excited. I don't really know what to expect, but I'm
Me
really
either. I'm just going to say this now for anyone who might listen. These first couple episodes might be a little rough.
we don't know what we're doing, but we're excited. Whoops.
Yeah. And I mean, there are tons of other podcasts that I listen to where it's like the first 3 episodes aren't available and they'll later say like, "Yeah, those episodes were so bad. Once we knew what we were doing, we deleted them."
Oh no.
So I'm like, if these end up being really bad, we might do that down the road. Once we get better at it, we'll be like, we'll just redo those episodes.
If anything, I feel like it'll just be like the audio that would make them cringe or something.
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm doing with this,
me either.
but we'll give it a try.
Hmm. All right. Well, I guess we should do little introductions
Okay.
for our 5 listeners.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, mommy. I'm Andrea.
Okay.
Oh,
I thought you were gonna. I'm Brittany.
oh, that's going in there. We're sisters. There are 5 kids in our family. Brittany's number 3. I'm number 5. So there's like a 6-year age difference.
Yes.
But I don't know. I wanted to start this podcast just because I love history. I just love stories. I mean, I've been planning this podcast for a long time and I literally have a spreadsheet of like 800 story ideas.
Oh my god.
So we can do this for quite a while.
Yay. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Emmy. Yeah. Wants to be involved. But yeah, so I've got like true crime stories, ghost stories, just generic, not generic, but just history, interesting people, famous animals, cryptids, like
Oh,
so many different stories. And I found that there's not really one podcast that talks about everything, like there are
yeah.
true crime
Yeah.
podcasts or there are paranormal podcasts or history podcasts, but nothing that just has all of it. And so,
Yeah. People like to find their niche, which makes sense because then
yes.
or people will follow along because they only want to talk about
Hmm.
whatever it is. What is a cryptid?
Cryptids are like, I don't want to use the word fake because that would definitely make a few people mad, but they are animals that have not been scientifically proven to exist. So, like Bigfoot and
Oh, you
Yeti and
um,
Mothman.
you ever listen to the Nate Land podcast?
I've never heard of that. What is that?
Do you know the comedian Nate Bargatze?
I don't think so.
Oh my god. Well, you probably recognize his stuff if you heard it, but he has an episode where his dad comes on and talks, maybe not his dad, some other guy who's like an expert and big believer in Bigfoot. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Now I know what it is. You said that the other day when we were recording the intro, and I'm like, I have no idea what that is. But
I thought about that after we recorded. I was like, does she know what a cryptid is?
no. I wouldn't even know where to begin, how to guess. I like cryptocurrency. No.
Yeah, I don't know what the connection is between those 2 words, but they are very different things.
Emma.
But yeah, there's an abundance of cryptids out there that we can talk about on this show.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Um for today's story, I wanted to keep things just a little bit lighter because especially once I get into the true crime stories, sorry. it might get a little bit more heavy, you
Yeah,
know.
I I can't even listen to that kind of stuff. So this will be
I
interesting.
mean, I'm not gonna get into graphic detail, and there are some true crime stories that I won't even touch. So
Okay.
I'm just gonna say it right now, listeners. I'm not doing the toy box killer, and I'm not doing the murder of Sylvia Likens. But those two stories, if you want to listen to them on your own, you can. But I will say, you will have images in your head you will never be able to get out.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I those are two stories that I will not touch. You know, if our fan base, whatever listeners get big enough that people start sending us recommendations, you can just skip over those because it's not going to happen. But um, I do think there are certain true crime stories that do really need to be told,
Mhm.
um, even if they are a little bit more difficult to listen to. They're important. If more people know these stories, then change can happen, you know?
Oh, okay.
And so, like, there are some true crime stories that are just like crazy and insane, and it's just a crazy story to listen to. And then there are others that are just a little bit more heavy, but it's like people need to know that this happened. And so, I do apologize, Brittany, but you're going to have to listen to some of those stories.
Okay. Well, you're gonna have to listen to Bachelor recaps, so
Okay. Oh, that reminds me. Are you gonna watch The Golden Bachelor?
absolutely. Oh
Oh my
gosh,
gosh.
I love this guy. He is so sweet.
He looks really sweet. I
He
saw that like
is.
interview he did with his daughters. It was very cute.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, I'm so excited about it. Yes,
I hope he finds true love.
I should probably introduce myself too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, but that's just a good segue. Basically, well, I don't know what to say about introducing myself, but what I will mostly be talking about on here is what I love most of all, which is TV and my shows. And I'm very passionate about them and I could talk about it all day. My friend Tori and I have been talking lately. We need to just start a TV club, not a book club. We both like to read, but not a book club, just a TV club where we can just
Yes.
talk about the cliffhangers and the things we loved and the things we didn't love. I just love it. So anyway, I'll probably talk a lot about that or shopping or
Target.
yeah, Target or just like, the crazy things my kids do or whatever. And like you were saying, like not a lot of podcasts are like this where you can talk about everything you find interesting. And I'm glad we're doing it that way. That's kind of how my Instagram is too. Like
Hmm.
most people see it and they're like, I have no idea what she's going for here, so I'm not going to follow, which is fine. It's like, I did not want a niche. Like people say, if you want to grow your Instagram, you need to find a niche and stick to that. But I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to post about like TV shows that I like, or fashion, or make silly reels, or what my kids are doing. Like, I don't want to find a niche. I just
Yeah.
want to talk about what I want to talk about. So,
Yes. Exactly.
so I'm excited that we just get
Me too.
to do this and just chat and have fun together. And it's going to be like a built in sister time every week. Like, this is going to be really fun.
Me too. Yeah. I'm so excited.
Yes.
I
Okay.
think it'll be really fun.
You can take the reins back.
No, but that's also a good segue into why it's called the Curiosity Shop. It took me a while to figure out what the name should be, but a curiosity shop, if you've never heard of one, it's almost like a little mini museum, but it has just like weird stuff in it. So I think Seattle has
Oh.
called the Old Curiosity Shop. I'm
Mm.
pretty sure that's what it's called. I could be very wrong. But literally, it's just like this little mini museum that has like mermaid skeletons and like just like weird, cool old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really random and it's just really cool and diverse. And so that's what I wanted this podcast to be, you know,
Oh, I
telling all these
like
different
that.
stories, but also just like chatting, just having a good time.
Yeah, exactly. That's my favorite podcasts are just chatting. Like I said, the Nate
Hmm.
Lane podcast, and then let me give some shout outs. Boy Mom Meets Girl Mom, Ghost Runners. Sorry, Emmy is like really getting into something back there, and it's really
That's okay.
but yes, I just love podcasts where they just chat and laugh and have a good time and talk about whatever they want to talk about. So
Yeah.
I'm all in.
Okay. Should we get to the story for today?
Let's do it.
Okay. So,
Come here.
I for today's story, I didn't want to get into any of the heavier stuff yet. We won't get to that for a little while.
Okay.
But for today's, I want to do something that was just really light and cute and fun. So let me pull up my notes real quick. So today's story is on the Great Beaver Drop of Idaho.
Okay. Don't know what this means. Very excited.
Okay, so the Great Beaver Drop of Idaho is just a little bit of background. So, back in like the 1930s and especially post World War II in Idaho, there was this big housing and industry boom that was going on, especially in areas like McCall and Payette Lake.
Mm-hmm.
People were finally discovering, how beautiful this area of Idaho was, and so all these new houses started sprouting up, and all these towns started coming out of nowhere. But the downside to this was that these areas were had pretty significant beaver populations.
Oh.
And the beavers kind of started to become a nuisance. Um, they were uh, chewing down trees. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how you would say that, but chewing down trees, creating dams, and these dams, they would flood. So neighborhoods would get flooded a little bit because of these beaver dams. And all these new people that were moving in were just like, get rid of the beavers. We don't want them here.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, the Idaho Department of Fish and Game recognized the worth of these beavers. So often in history, if there's an animal or people that get in our way, we tend to just kind of eliminate them.
Yeah.
That it happened with the wolves in Yellowstone. They were extinct for a little while. Like, they had completely been eradicated from Yellowstone, and they had to be reintroduced years later, which was just so sad.
Mm-hmm.
And so, luckily, the Idaho Department of Fish and Game, IDFG, they recognized how important these beavers were, and they didn't want to just, kill all of them.
Yeah.
They decided they needed to stay. I mean, beavers, they they're really good for wetlands. They create habitats for fish and birds. They are an essential part of ecosystems. So you can't just get rid of them. So what they decided to do was just relocate them to more wilderness, remote areas of Idaho where people were not at, so that they could just help the ecosystems there, and they would be left alone to kind of do their thing.
Oh.
And back in the 1930s, they had started trying to relocate beavers, but it hadn't really worked out very well. The areas that they were relocating them to, like the Chamberlain Basin, they're so remote that they don't even have roads going there. I think they still don't really have any roads going to that area. And so back in the 1930s, when they were doing these moves, they would pretty much trap the beavers and strap them to the back of a mule or a horse and try and transport them that way to these super remote areas.
Oh wow.
But, it was a long, hot journey, and it would stress out the beavers, it would stress out the horses or the mules. and even a couple of beavers died from overheating or whatever. So it was just not a good strategy for moving the beavers. So then in the 1940s, post World War II, when the housing boom really started to take off, they were like, we got to figure something else out. We need to move these beavers, but we don't know how to do it. So enter IDFG employee Elmo W. Heater. He apparently had some experience with beavers, and he came up with an idea of how to transport them to the Chamberlain Basin.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea what his idea was?
Oh, no. My guess is something very outlandish.
Parachutes.
Wait. Okay. I have this vision in my mind of all these beavers. Like, how is this my life? Like,
I know.
the sky attached to these
I
parachutes.
just picture they have like little goggles on while they're jumping out of the plane.
Oh gosh, what in the world? So, did they do this?
Yes. Okay. So after World War II, there was a big surplus of Army parachutes. And so he decided, he came up with this idea that they would take these leftover parachutes and they would take lidless wooden boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they took like two lidless boxes and kind of fitted them together on a hinge like a suitcase. And they just drilled a whole bunch of holes into them so that the beavers could breathe. And then big, like 2-inch elastic bands were fastened to the bottom of the box.
Mm-hmm.
And then they like extended up the sides and they formed kind of these like double springs that would open when the box landed on the ground. So
It's
what they
beaver.
did,
Gosh.
so they had this idea. They had the boxes and the parachutes, but they were kind of worried that they would chew their way out of the boxes midair or mid-flight. So they captured this older gentleman beaver named, guess what they named him? It's so cute.
What did they name him?
Geronimo.
Oh.
Yeah, little Geronimo. And he became like their test pilot.
Oh my god.
So this poor beaver, so they capture him and then they would just like put him in these boxes, take him up into a plane and shove him out of the plane in these boxes.
Like over and over?
Over and over. They would drop him into this landing field.
Oh my gosh, little buddy.
I know, little Geronimo. And
Oh.
so at first, the box would land and it would spring open so he could get out. And he would, try and run away. And then handlers would have to come find him and bring him back. But eventually he knew what his job was and it was so cute. He would just like crawl out of his box and wait there.
Oh.
And then when like the handlers would come, he'd just crawl back in, ready for his next flight.
My gosh, I wonder if he started enjoying it.
I know, he's like, yeah. So they did a whole bunch of test flights with Geronimo. And once they were satisfied that, yes, this could work, they're probably not going to really chew out of the boxes or try to escape. At least he didn't for however many test flights they did. So his reward for being their test pilot for so long was once they relocated them to their new area, the Chamberlain Basin, he was the very first beaver that they dropped. And they dropped with him 3 young, very attractive female beavers.
Oh my god.
This dude had a whole harem.
Oh my word.
He had a whole harem of female beavers.
Oh my gosh.
So apparently they dropped him down into the basin. And at first, he kind of waited like, all right, let's go again. And then he realized, oh, this is it. This is my last one. So he and his 3 lady companions just kind of wandered off and got to work and started making little baby beavers. But in total, 76 beavers were dropped into the Chamberlain Basin, I think a couple of other areas as well. And all but one survived the dropping. So
Oh,
there was one, yeah, there was one that did end up chewing its way out of the box midair.
oh,
And had he just, even after chewing through the box, if he had just stayed in,
mm-hmm.
until he got to the ground, he would have lived. But I guess it panicked and jumped out about 100 feet from the ground.
Oh no.
Yeah, so that one didn't make it. But 75 out of 76 beavers made it, um and were able to really help the wetlands and the habitat in general in these areas.
That's
And
amazing.
so, yeah.
Where do you find these stories?
I heard this one actually on another podcast. It's called The Ouija Broads.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's these two ladies from the Pacific Northwest, I think Washington or Oregon, and they tell stories just from the Pacific Northwest. I don't know if they still do the podcast. They haven't put out a new episode in a while, but they do take long breaks in between sometimes. So I don't know, but they do a really good episode on it as well. And that's where I first heard it. And I was like, this is fantastic. I love
There,
this. It's
is
so
there
cute.
video footage of this?
There is.
Okay,
Okay,
we're
so
gonna have
this
to
story was like largely forgotten for many years because I think the only time they did it was in 1948. And then after that, for some reason, they never did another beaver drop, even though it was very successful. But there is footage of this. It's really cute. I'll have to send it to you and see if I can post it on Instagram or something because it's pretty cute. You get to see Geronimo doing his little test flights. It's
Yes,
some good footage.
you can do like with our podcast with you telling the story in the background and post it to our
Yeah. Oh, that'd be cute.
with the footage of him careening through the sky.
Yes.
My word, that's wild.
I know. So the legacy of the Great Beaver Drop, these beavers and their offspring were able to create essentially fire resistant wetlands. So, I mean,
Oh.
wildfires and forest fires happen all the time nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, if you look at these areas on like Google Maps or whatever, they're just green. Like they're green and lush and beautiful, and there's all sorts of wildlife there. And they really don't have wildfires or forest fires because they're so wet and luscious,
Oh,
and healthy. It's really cool to see how essential these beavers were to the environment, and how they still are impacting these areas today. It's really cool.
so they didn't know that they would end up doing this for the environment. It just kind of happened, or did they?
Well, they did. They had an idea. I mean, they knew that beavers were important to the local ecosystems, which is why they didn't want to just exterminate them all.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they were really looking at it, 70 years down the road.
Yeah.
But it's just cool to look at these areas and see how much good the beavers have done there.
And what year did you say this happened?
1948.
So crazy.
I know.
Oh,
So no more beavers get dropped by parachutes
okay.
anymore. Nowadays in neighborhoods and in like towns and stuff like that where humans live, they're now encouraged to just really try and get along with their beaver neighbors. They're not that big of a nuisance. It's not like they're chewing into the sides of people's houses.
Yeah.
They're just, I say a lot.
Hey,
I'm really getting on my nerves.
I always say, but anyways.
My other one is I was gonna say, I always say that. But anyways, yeah, they're really encouraged to get along with their beaver neighbors. They're not chewing into the sides of people's houses. They're not flooding entire neighborhoods. They're just kind of like any other um I don't want to say rodent because I don't think they're rodents, but they're around. And maybe they're a little bit of a nuisance here and there, but the good that they do like massively outweighs the bad. So now the Idaho Department of Fish and Game is just kind of like, y'all gotta get along. They're not going anywhere. So
Oh, that's so funny.
yeah. So the Great Beaver Drop of Idaho.
Well, I love it. I learned something
Yeah.
new today. My kids are gonna love that story.
Oh, I hope so. Did Hattie draw a picture of it?
Oh my gosh, I forgot. I'll have her do that so that we can use it. I
Yeah.
totally forgot. I'm so
Brittany.
I had one job. Oh my god.
So Brittany's daughter Hattie is an incredible artist. She says she wants to be an artist when she grows up, and she's pretty good at drawing. So we're gonna have her draw a little picture of the parachuting beavers, and that'll be our like episode art
That
for
is
our very first episode.
amazing.
Yeah, I'll have to find the footage and send it to you because it's pretty cute.
Yes, I need to see this.
All right, well that is my story for today. Um, do you have any questions or concerns, qualms?
About the beavers?
Yeah.
No. Oh, I wonder if they keep track if they know which beavers are Geronimo's descendants
I
from his
know,
political
little
family.
Geronimo. He's a good boy.
Andrea is an animal lover.
I am. I love animals so much. And it's funny because our mom hates animals.
I tend to lean that way.
So do most people in our family. Okay, Lindsay hates animals. I don't know about all animals, but she hates dogs.
I mean, if you didn't grow up with them, they can be a little nerve-wracking to be around,
Yeah. I
but
think Justin is indifferent, but Jeremy and I are both the dog lovers in the
oh,
family.
sure, for sure.
hmm
Yeah.
But yes, I love animals. We will have a lot of animal stories. Hopefully, I can turn Brittany.
I don't I I don't know. I do like kids though, and those are a lot more work and a lot messier than most animals.
Yes, they are, but you don't have to deal with dog hair.
Yeah, that's true.
And I will say, I'm not a cat person.
Oh, really?
Sorry to cat people out there. Sorry, Justin and Sydney. I know you have a cat. Your house smells fine, but like cat people, oh my gosh.
Is it
Cat
because
people, cat person smell is one of the worst smells
oh,
on
so
earth to me.
that's the reason is the smell?
Yes,
I was thinking maybe it was because they have a lot of attitude and sass. Like
they do too.
you've met your match with cats.
Do you remember, the Hancocks growing up? They had their cat Ariel.
Vaguely.
That cat hated me. I don't know. Maybe she was a really sweet cat to the Hancocks, but she would hiss at me.
Oh no. Oh.
My best friend growing up had a cat and it loved all of them, but for some reason, whenever I was there, it would like hide in their closet or
Oh.
like hiss. So I don't know. I'm not a cat fan. I also don't like litter boxes.
Yeah, those are rough.
If I can train a cat to go in the backyard like a dog, that might be different, but
Also, like can't isn't there a way where they can just like go in a hole in the ground like at a toilet outside? Why has this not
like
been
a latrine?
yeah, like a hole in the ground that's like for the animals. Like if you can train them to use the litter box or to go outside, I'm sure you could train them to use that.
That's true. Maybe I'll just train them to use the toilet. They'll just
Make
flush the toilet with their little paws.
make everyone's life easier.
All
She
right. Well, should we do
Patty.
Brittany's rubbish corner?
Yes, I feel like we every time we do that, we need to play the clip from Home Alone. I'm getting drunk and watching rubbish.
Yes.
Also, I was gonna look up the definition of rubbish. How would you define it?
Isn't rubbish just like garbage or dirty or something? Let me look it up.
I think so. You are so chatty. My goodness.
Hi, Emmy.
Um, I don't want people to get the impression that it's like rubbish, like really inappropriate. I'm kind of a lightweight, so usually
Yes.
I like cleaner shows, but I mean, a lot of the shows that I watch, there is stuff in there that's not the best. But when I see that scene in Home Alone, I just think like eating junk and watching rubbish, like basically like I'm wasting my time, but really
Mhm.
enjoying myself. So
Okay, the definition of rubbish has a few different definitions, basically all the same. It is waste material, refuse, or litter. Criticize severely and reject as worthless.
oh no.
Very bad, worthless, or useless.
Oh well, that's what I like to consume all every
The
day.
Golden Bachelor.
My greatest hobby are my shows. I'm very passionate. Yes. Okay. So what should we do? Like, should I just highlight a different show? I mean, right now, I don't know. Maybe I can talk about what I just watched or what I'm
Yeah,
excited to
I think we should
start.
highlight like a few key shows that you watch on a weekly basis.
Okay.
Like The Bachelor or I don't know. I don't know what else you watch. Ted Lasso. I know you recommended Ted Lasso to me.
Okay. I've watched so many. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, Bachelor just ended. And for years, I always looked down on Bachelor viewers. I'm like, how can you watch something so trashy? And then after I had Hattie, my friend Sarah, shout out Sarah, my roommate from BYU, she would come over and help because I was going through kind of a tough time. And she would come and just like hold Hattie for me or just keep me company. And she's like, do you watch The Bachelor? The finale is tonight. It was Sean and Catherine's season. And I was like, no, I've never watched it. Well, she sucked me in. So my Bachelor journey started with Sean and Catherine's um engagement, and then I have been hooked ever since. So it really isn't all that dirty. Now Bachelor in Paradise on the other
Oh
hand,
yeah, no, that looks like total rubbish,
and I
refuse, or
I,
litter.
I don't judge anyone who watches it because the drama is good, but
I do.
definitely I just stick to Bachelorette, the flagship show. I just love it. And like there's the fantasy suite episode, which is like,
Yeah,
but besides that, it's just like it's just fun and
it
sweet to
is.
people
I
trying.
will say, okay, I don't know if I've told you this before, but I did get sucked into The Bachelorette
Oh,
one season. Do you watch The Bachelorette too?
yes, which season? I kind of just group them together and say Bachelor for both,
Yeah.
but which
So
season?
it was years ago, right after I got home from my mission, and I was at BYU, Idaho, and my roommate sucked me in. It was JoJo's season.
Oh, I loved
Yeah,
JoJo.
she was pretty cool.
And she's still with her man and they're married now.
Yeah, they're actually really cute. Aaron Rodgers' brother.
Yes. Yes, which is a whole other thing.
I know.
Well, we could dive down to. But yeah, so Bachelor's over. It just ended last week. Charity and Dotton got engaged and they're super cute. Next is Golden Bachelor. It's starting the end of September. And then I think actual Bachelor probably starts in like January. So when it's Bachelor season, like it's all I can think about. All I want to talk about. I just love like getting to know the contestants and all the drama. And occasionally you get a cute love story out of it, which I love.
Yes.
But also, okay, do you watch Virgin River?
No, I've always heard really good things about it.
Okay, it's starting. Okay, let me look up. It's on my calendar. I can't keep track of my kids' schedules and activities, but I have my shows on my calendar. Okay, let's see. Okay. Well, I'm looking that up. So it's so good. So I never really got into This Is Us, but it's Sophie from This Is Us is the main girl. And she's a doctor from like a big city in California, but then she moves to this, excuse me, this tiny town, like this mountain town in California to like start a new life. And oh, there's just a lot of drama, a lot of twists and turns. It is so good. So that I'm excited because that's coming out soon. So I'll probably want to talk all about that when it
Okay,
does.
maybe I'll have to
Like,
start watching it and we can
or
discuss
you should.
on
Oh,
the show. Actually, fun fact, did you know that the main chick, Sophie from This Is Us, she's also the awful girlfriend and she's the man.
that is how I should have introduced her. Okay, because that is one of the greatest movies.
I was shocked when I found that out. I was like, that's Sophie? No way.
Monique. Yes.
Monique, that was her name.
Yes.
When I
Sebastian.
close my eyes, I see you for what you truly are, which is ugly. Oh, it's so good.
Oh my gosh, yes. So that show is amazing. Highly recommend. It's on Netflix. Yeah, I mean, I could talk all day about TV, but we'll have to figure out how we want to go about it. Yeah, just I could just talk about what I'm watching or what.
Oh, Brittany, you know it would be a really good segment.
What?
We choose a Hallmark movie to watch each week,
Yes.
and then we discuss it on the show. We can make fun of it and talk about all the good things and all the ridiculous things.
Absolutely. Sydney has actually pitched that idea before. She's like, "Oh my gosh, we should just have like a show or a podcast where kind of like Mystery Science Theater. Is that what it's called?"
Yes, that can be our next
So
podcast project. With
we would
Sydney.
have to do that with Sydney because I mean, I guess you had a similar idea, but that would be so fun.
Or okay, if we ever end up getting big enough where we have a Patreon, that can be one of our like bonus episodes.
But yes, also, okay, highly recommend Boy Mom Meets Girl Mom podcast. And they do from time to time. Okay, she's handle. Let's take that away. They do talk about Hallmark movies from time to time, and they're pretty hilarious. Highly recommend. They are really fun. Just two best friends from Tennessee, and their accents are so cute. And okay, now you have a mason jar.
Emmy.
She's so funny. Anyway, so yes, I just love talking TV. So for our 10 followers, shoot me a DM if you need someone to talk about a crazy finale or cliffhanger or whatever.
Yeah.
Your girl. And I know you and I share a lot of the same shows that we love, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
What else? That's
Oh
all.
my gosh, Brittany, you have to start. Have you ever watched the show Superstore?
We started it a while back. We need to give it another go.
That is probably one of my all-time favorite shows that I can watch over and over again. It's so stupid and ridiculous and funny.
Sounds like my kind of show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We definitely need to give that one another try. I don't know why we didn't watch it all the way through, but yes. Oh, well, got to figure out how to pick up all 4 of these kids, and Jared and I have to tag team it today because there's all kinds of things.
Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking normal episodes will probably be about an hour. This is our first one. We don't have a whole lot to talk about this episode, so it is a little bit shorter, and I chose a shorter story on purpose today. So,
I think it'll be fun if we kind of just like chat and let things go with the flow because we have that natural sister chemistry. But then also like it could be fun to do segments from time to time, or like my favorite podcast, they like play games sometimes, or just have like our regular segments, like you said, Brittany's rubbish corner. What yours is, like, I don't know what you want yours to be, Andrea's story time or whatever, but and I think a couple of the ones I follow, they call it like weekly recap, so they just share like what they did that week and or funny stories from their kids or something. Anyway, so.
Well, I mean, you've got some hilarious kids.
Oh
So.
my gosh. I do. They're pretty funny. They are. It's just crazy.
Well, I feel like we should end each podcast episode with the saying from our mom every time we ever get off the phone with our mom or whatever. Do you know what she says, Brittany?
Yes. Do you want me to say? Should we say it at the same time?
Let's say it at the same time.
Okay, I'm nervous that I'm gonna get like one word wrong.
I
Hold on.
know.
Okay. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Well,
I'll let you go. That was so. Maybe we'll switch off every episode who says it, because apparently we're challenged and can't say it together.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I can't wait. I just want to listen to all of this audio with
I know.
gosh. This is gonna
Okay,
be fun.
well, thank you, Mom, for listening.
Yes, we love you.
Thanks, Dan and Jared, for listening too.
Yeah, we'll see, Jared. Who knows?
All right. Well, see you next week.
Okay,
But
see you next
meantime,
week.
we'll let you go.
We'll let you go.
Bye.
Bye.